Progression for me is everything. What the?
Come on, come on. Allez les gars. Allez, 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 allez. Allez, encore, encore, encore. Encore. Allez, 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 allez.
Hey! What the fuck? I have like numb fingers now. It's so fucked up.
Ja, scheiße, ne?
Yeah, I don't know if I should give it another try, but I also think,
Wow. Like doing it almost 3 times a day, it's like a little, it's good now.
I chose to change first pitch, La Castagne and Eagle 4 for my next 3 big projects, and I want to climb these routes as they would mark a definite progression in my climbing. I started climbing pretty late, when I was around 17 years old. I had a pretty fast development in climbing. I could do my first 8A like 6 months into the sport, and this experience just kind of made me hungry for even more, because I knew like, okay, now we're talking. It just led to the first 8B 1 year after, and the first 8B plus the same year, and then 1 year after I even did the first 8C, and this progression just fueled all that drive I already had. Until I did my first 9A 1 year later, or half a year later, in Spain. After such rapid progression, it just felt confusing. I didn't have any reasons for not progressing anymore. I thought I knew what to train for. I thought as long as I would train for it, it would happen. And it was the first time it just didn't. Progression for me is everything. To not progress means I'm failing as a person. I think I see myself more as an athlete. So that's exactly the problem. Like, my performance in sports will trigger my emotions I have towards me. And that's when you don't really like yourself anymore. That might be a problem, but then when it's becoming a real problem is when you just don't find a solution to change it. I noticed a plateau after having done my first couple of 9As, when the goal of doing 9A plus became very important. It's not really when you're climbing your best. That's not when you're learning. Because before I thought I know how climbing works, and it just taught me that I didn't. During preparation for a certain goal and things would not work as expected, it would start to stress me out pretty much, because I would start doubting that I put in enough effort in order to be prepared for the project. The balance between rage and calm is very important for me, because I think that it creates this perfect balance between very good performance and very bad performance. If I'm way too loose and I do not really care, I cannot climb well. But if I'm way too tense and I'm stressed about every single detail, then I won't be climbing at all, probably.
It's so greasy. It's so bad. Oh.
The conditions so far on the route were a little tricky, to say the least. When we arrived, we got really good conditions, and I was pretty motivated to try it every day. And then it just didn't stop raining, so we had a lot of seepage. Not only in my route, every climber here had problems on the project. And now it's finally starting to dry off, but I never had that feeling of it's there, it's 100% good conditions. On one day I had like everything. It felt dark and damp, and then suddenly there's a little wind, I got psyched and had a super good try. And I don't think the conditions can change that much. So I think it's best to just keep trying. Really looking forward for the next try. But I think now it's just in the mind. I can kind of know I can do it. Just need to try.
Completely fucked.
I'm attracted to those routes because I think failure, that's exactly what you need sometimes. You need it to be close to you, but when it's close, you just try to go around it. And if it's not there, you can do whatever you want, but you also don't get that satisfaction. Like you have done anything exceptionally well today, because you knew you're gonna do it. But if you don't know you're gonna do it, and you will end up doing it by the end of the day, it just makes you feel so much better. Coming from training and then standing in front of the route again, or maybe for the first time, would just make me feel a little anxious, and just having the feeling, what did I get myself into again? And just seeing the whole dimension of something. And this time it was very different. I knew I could fail, but I just saw small steps all the time. I never really looked at the route and was just like overwhelmed. And it was particularly cool because most of the times I would just envision the route and I would climb it and it's gonna feel great. I did a lot of training. And then I would stand in front of the route and I would see, shit, like it's a little bigger than I thought, or it's just, it's deeper than I thought, or did I really train enough? And in Flatanger I just arrived and I felt ready. And all I wanted to do is start climbing on the route like every single day, even if it was wet. As soon as I step on the route, if everything happens according to plan, I just completely forget. I don't know where I am. It's usually like it just does everything. Sometimes I feel like my mind just is actually slower than I'm climbing. And I think the key to get into this is not while climbing, it's actually what happens before you start.
Yeah!
Yeah, clipping the anchor of change P1 was a very big step. It was considerably harder than anything else I've tried before. I couldn't stop smiling. I was sitting in the cave. I didn't need to climb. I didn't feel like I need to do another hard route. I could just sit there for hours and I just felt calm and in peace. Change is way too steep and long. I wouldn't consider this climbing so much my style. And then after having a very good experience on something like that, I just wanted to see if a route which I would consider being my style would go down quicker and with more ease. So that's why I chose La Castaña. It's pretty short and intense. It's around like 30 moves on very small holds, and it's just power endurance. And I think slightly overhanging is the style I would consider what I'm best at. Progression means I can go to the next level, but sometimes I have to go through a little bit of a harder time. And then I have this little spark of progression which gives me the feeling I'm on the right path, I'm on the right track, and I might eventually succeed if I just keep pushing all the time. And I think it's very important to find the balance and go through all this, to maneuver your way through setbacks, progression, and eventually you are achieving your goal. When I progress, it sometimes feels better than sending. Maybe even the hardest route I would have done. That's a little awkward, but something I experienced quite a lot of times, because if I can do a boulder I was never able to do, a boulder in training, like completely nothing. It's just something I made up, but I can, all of a sudden I can do it, and then 2 weeks later I'm doing it easier and I can control certain moves. That gives me such a joy, and I'm very happy about it. And then sometimes after that I would go to the project, send that, and I realized, that feeling I had on the training boulder almost was as good. So that's when I figured out that progression actually is, it's not always linked to the goal. it's also these intermediate goals which can be very, very satisfying. And that's something I try to embrace in my training, to just also be open to all these feelings during training. And I also had some disappointing moments when I thought climbing this route will feel better than anything else in life. And then it just didn't, and it all went back to this little moment, this key moment in training when I knew I can do the route already, and then I just went out and did it. So the feeling in training was almost better.
Come on, Aleli. Nice, Aleli. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Aleli.
Ha!
Come on.
Aleli.
Every climber, regardless of their abilities, will experience a plateau. Doesn't really matter how strong you are, how good you are. It just happens and you don't progress. I realized that I'm in the middle of a plateau when I was trying to get my first 9A+. The more important it became, the less it really worked out. And finally, climbing those projects just gave me so much confidence for future projects and other goals I have. That's a really, really good feeling. Right now, I'm trying to find the next big project which will force me to progress even more. I don't know where it's gonna be, I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'm looking forward to finding out.